Centre takes note of NSC-NIM statement. Sources say New Delhi is still open to continuing dialogue. Naga civil groups react to belligerent statement from NSC-NIM General Secretary T.H. Moiva. Is there a tiff between the Tripura Advocate General and the Government of Tripura? Advocate General all set to step down on Monday, confirms AG to Northeast Live. Brief lull in Manipur broken with back-to-back violence from Jiribam and Bishnupur. 2 dead in last 48 hours. Heavy firing reported today at Saiton in Bishnupur. Top universities in Northeast rocked by protests. Indefinite hunger strike continues at Nehu. Protest also rocks Sikkim University. Mizo Students' Union President Samuel Zoram Thanpuya arrested on charges of fund misappropriation, kidnapping for ransom and extortion, accused of misappropriating healthcare funds and humanitarian aid. And at least 25 people, including 14 army soldiers, killed in bomb blast at Quetta railway station in Pakistan's Balochistan.
Evening Prime is brought to you by
Yamaha, Call of the Blue, Indian Super League, Let's Football,
and
Patanjali Dant Kanti, Full Fresh.
Straight to the big developing story from Nagaland. The centre has taken note of the latest statement issued by the NSC-NIM but is unlikely to close its doors to continued negotiations with the group to try and resolve the protracted Naga issue. Sources said that the NSC-NIM has for long been insisting on the demand for a separate flag and constitution for the Nagas, and therefore the emphasis on these two demands in the November 7th statement by the group's General Secretary T.H. Moiva is nothing new. The only major new emphasis is Moiva's statement in the proposal or demand for allowing a third-party intervention to drive home the need, as the NSC-NIM calls it, to honour the 2015 Framework Agreement in letter and spirit. We do not know what the next step of the Government of India could be, but there seems to be other developments on the ground. Some groups who are not part of the NNPG are now said to be trying to expand the non-NSC-NIM grouping by joining it. There are two prominent NSCN groups who are not so far part of the NNPG. They are the groups led by Khango Konyak and Niki Sumi. Whether these two groups too join the 7-member NNPG is left to be seen. On the whole, however, the latest NSC-NIM statement that bears Mr. Moiva's signature has led to the question whether the 27-year-old ceasefire could be called off by the NSC-NIM, which has threatened to resume its armed struggle. But sources feel things may not come to this so soon, as New Delhi is still open to continuing dialogue. And meanwhile, individuals and civil society groups have reacted to the NSC-NIM General Secretary T.H. Moiva's statement threatening to call off the ceasefire and resume armed struggle.
After the ceasefire between the NSC-NIM and the Government of India, the statement issued yesterday is being seen as one of the biggest statements issued by the NSC-NIM, where they have also given a direct warning to go back to the armed struggle. What is your observation and take on the statement issued by the NSC-NIM General Secretary T.H. Moiva?
Well, if you look down the different stages of development over the past 27 years, I think the NSCN also has been, their patience has been tested beyond a reasonable limit. And maybe that is why this statement has come out.
But do you think it will be wise, after the hard work that everyone has put in, to bring peace in the state, if they break off the ceasefire?
No, that is what we have been telling everybody, as we also have been quietly following both sides. So whenever we meet Government of India representatives or other government leaders, we also request them, especially in the last couple of years, not to waste the effort that has gone into all this peacemaking. And even to the NSCN, we have always said, don't be the first to break the ceasefire, despite whatever frustrations you are going through. But perhaps there comes a time when things are beyond control, and maybe they have also been provoked too much from different corners and from different angles, not necessarily from the government of India alone. So maybe it is not wise. We don't want any conflict taking place, whether it is physical or mental conflict. But comes a time when we have to cross several stages, and perhaps this is one of them.
So do you think that the government of India has betrayed the letter and spirit of the framework agreement which was signed between the two entities? And also the NSA and IM have mentioned about the intervention of a third party. Do you think this is very important?
Certainly, I think. If you have
For the first time in the last 27 years, the NSA and IM have means no words, and they have clearly warned that they will go back to the armed violent resistance. What do you make out of this?
Sarah, I think it's a very serious and critical period in our political history, and it is of great concern to all of us who've been following the peace process. Hopefully, we will see some interventions, and I see the interventions should come perhaps from the civil society that has been continuously working for peace to be resolved, and particularly the political issue of the Naga people. I think this is a stage where it is expected of the civil society also to stand up and lend our voice. If you look at, because I think it's almost reaching a breaking point, and if we are not careful, we have been continuously saying, if we are not careful, we will maybe see a break in the ceasefire, which would be great havoc to all the processes that have gone on.
The NSA and IM statement, which was issued by their General Secretary, Mr. T.H. Muiwa, they have clearly mentioned in the statement that there is a need for a third-party intervention, and if this is rejected by the government of India, then things will not go down well. So how important is this third-party intervention in the negotiation process?
You see, I believe that the government of India, and if you look at Indian academics across the world, they do have very, very prominent academicians too who have been well versed in peace and conflict studies and in how reconciliations have taken place and how these kind of political negotiations have taken place. I think for the government of India too, it is time to actually consult these kind of academics, not only politicians or or people involved in these kind of activities, but also academics, to see a way out as to how a third party intervention will work. I am not very sure how agreeable the government of India is going to be on a third party international intervention. That is an issue one really needs to seriously study. But if you look at the agreements that have been signed in early years and the kind of conventions that they have held, I think there was agreement between the two parties that they would have no opposition to a third party intervention. So possibilities are there, and why not? I think the Irish peace process is a big lesson for us Nagas. The Irish Good Friday Agreement, and what can happen also in the Naga situation. I think these are, I always see possibilities even in the midst of so much of darkness, and I think we really must work together to make sure that the ceasefire is not broken, that the government of India also takes seriously and tries to find out ways on how some kind of resolution can take place. And also I think I would really urge the government of Nagaland, where actually most of the responsibility is upon them, to go beyond our borders and think of the Naga interest in the larger interest. I think this is going to be very important. Most of our Nagas, and particularly a lot of the younger generation who have not faced the pre-ceasefire days and have not seen the violence and the killings, do not really understand what an effect a break in a ceasefire will bring for the Naga generation. We cannot afford any more bloodshed, any more killings among ourselves and on other people too. I think time has come to seriously resolve it, and you must have heard my comments even earlier, particularly on the flag and the constitution. I think as an academic, not that I support the NSC and IM, but I think as an academic that is well versed with the political history of so many countries, we know that the flag, recognition of the flag, as well as having a constitution, is something that is mandated and is expected on any kind of political settlement. And I think we should not blame the NSC and IM for sticking to this very point of keeping the sovereignty of the Nagas and, protecting our identity through a kind of a constitution. I think these are valid arguments, and one really wonders why, even till today, the government of India is unable to take it seriously. They are well aware of what is happening beyond our borders. They are well aware of the kind of security concerns that may crop up, and so there are a lot of concerns if we allow the ceasefire to break.
The NBA is extremely worried of the statement that has been issued by the NSC and IM recently. This hard-earned peace process, which we all have worked very hard to build peace in our land, has to be salvaged at any cost. In this regard, NBF would like to appeal both the entity, the NSC and IM, as well as the government of India, once again seriously engage into the political negotiations because the Naga people as a whole are expecting an acceptable, honorable and inclusive solution out of this ongoing peace process and vis-a-vis the political talk. And therefore, if it collapsed without finding any solution, situation will go back to the pre-ceasefire, which will be very disturbing. And therefore, we would like to once again urge both the government of India and NSCNI to trash out if there is any differences, and also urge both the parties to respect the principle of how the peace process was initiated.
And we also have reactions from convener Global Naga Forum, Chuba Ozukum. Let's listen in.
When the ceasefire was signed between the government of India and NSNIM, both the parties mutually agreed to hold the talks outside India and a third country. I think the idea behind this was to create a neutral space where both parties could engage in dialogue without the pressures and constraints of India's domestic political landscape, which might complicate the peace process. I think in the initial period, there was also a third-party intervention on contentious issues, which helped the negotiators from both sides continue the talks. When talks reach a deadlock, because now I can say that the talk is in deadlock, it becomes imperative to invite a third-party intervention if the ceasefire is to be continued. But this decision, I think, ultimately rests with the government of India. Another important point which I would like to share is that the Nagaland government, along with the civil society groups and the tribal representatives, has resolved on 12th September this year to appeal to the government of India to appoint an interlocutor, preferably a union minister or someone at the political level. In addition to this, I would also like to say, and this is my strong belief, that the interlocutor should be endorsed by Parliament to ensure greater authority and political commitment. But unfortunately, the government of India has not appointed a full-fledged interlocutor for more than 3 years now after Ardin Ravi left Nagaland. And the reasons for this delay are known based to the government of India. it has become worrisome for the entire Naga people as the present ceasefire may collapse if the government of India is not sincere in resolving the Naga issue, which could lead to irreparable loss on both sides. That's what I believe.
On to another big story now. Is there a tiff between Tripura Advocate General Siddhartha Shankar Dey and the government of Tripura? Well, the Tripura AG has made up his mind to resign from his position and is all set to step down on Monday, the first working day of the coming week. Reports state that the decision has been taken due to rifts with the state government's law department and senior bureaucrats. SS Dey was appointed to his current role on December 29, 2020, after the previous Advocate General Arun Kanti Bhomik passed away from COVID-19 related complications. Originally from northern Tripura, Dey was practicing at the Guwahati High Court before his elevation. Sources say that the Tripura AG has recently developed rifts with the law department and senior bureaucrats over legal matters related to law and order, which are under the scrutiny of the courts. Meanwhile, it is rumored that the Tripura government has already selected a next Advocate General who is said to be a senior lawyer at the High Court of Tripura. The official announcement is expected to be made next week. And meanwhile, speaking exclusively to Northeast Live, Tripura AG SS Dey confirmed that he is indeed going to step down, but stopped short of accusing anyone, instead saying that certain personal preferences are behind his decision to resign. Listen in.
I am joined by the Advocate General of Tripura, Siddhartha Shankar Dey, because there's reports in media that you are resigning. What is the fact, sir?
Yes, I am resigning. I am putting down my papers right at 10 a.m. on Monday.
On Monday, you are resigning. So, why all of a sudden such a decision has been taken? How was the overall journey as of now?
See, the overall journey has been very, very good. But as you know, all the songs come to an end. All the seasons get a changeover. Just like that, I have a very memorable, successful tenure of almost 4 years. I have served under 2 successive chief ministers of the state, and it has been a memorable journey. But you know, this is a pleasure post. It depends on the convenience of both the government and myself. So somewhere, it's time for me to go. I have got other personal preferences. So I thought it appropriate that I lay down my office. I have my pending proposals. I am very sure the government will look into it with the new faces coming. There will be more dynamism, and last but not the least, my best wishes for Shrestha Tripura, a best Tripura.
পতঞ্জলি কচ্চি ঘানি বিশুদ্ধ সৰিয়হৰ তেলত বিশুদ্ধতাৰ তীব্ৰতা এনেকুৱা যি লৈ আহে চকুলৈ পানী আৰু যেতিয়া পৰিবেশন কৰা হয় তেতিয়া সকলোৰে মুখলৈ আহে পানী সোৱাদ আৰু বিশুদ্ধতাৰ সংযোগ পতঞ্জলি কচ্চি ঘানি সৰিয়হৰ তেল
মুৰসাল যেন কবিতা কাৰণ ইয়াৰ চিৰ সংগী ইটালিয়ান অলিভ অইল আৰু ভেষজৰ গুণেৰে সমৃদ্ধ জেক অলিভ অইল বডি অইল
কবিতাৰ দৰে চালে জগাই তোলে মনত নতুন সুৰ
Eight states at your fingertips, the real voice of the region. Watch Northeast Live, your station, your voice.
নিয়মীয়া বাৰ্তাৰ
And on to another big story now. Top universities in the Northeast are making headlines for all the wrong reasons. In Meghalaya, the Nehu students' hunger strike has entered its fourth day, and protesting students have expressed a determination to continue their strike, despite a number of them falling ill due to weakness and exhaustion. Two Khasi Students' Union members were hospitalized earlier today amid the continued hunger strike by students. The two hospitalized KSU members have been identified as Kevin Nelson Wanrap, who is the General Secretary of the KSU Nehu Unit, and Morningstar Suting, who is the Assistant Sports Secretary of the KSU Nehu Unit. The duo was later discharged when their condition improved. However, soon thereafter, another KSU member, Mebang Karmalong, who is the Publicity Secretary of KSU Nehu Unit, was also hospitalized after falling ill. Meanwhile, the Achik Nehu Students' Union also joined the protesting Nehu students today. Noteworthy is that the students of Nehu are on an indefinite hunger strike as they demand for the removal of Vice-Chancellor Professor Prabhashankar Shukla. Meanwhile, reports have come in that concerned over the ongoing protests at Nehu, the Meghalaya government has decided to call VC Shukla next week to take stock of the situation. Reports are stating that the state government is concerned about the situation and also about the students who have their undergraduate examinations next week. Yesterday, representatives of the Teachers Association of the university met Meghalaya Governor C.H. Vijay-Shankar and briefed him about the demands of Nehuta and the students regarding the removal of Vice-Chancellor Shukla and the situation at the university campus. Meanwhile, we have reactions from General Secretary of the KSU Nehu Unit, Kevin Nelson Wanrap, who vowed to continue the hunger strike till the VC steps down.
As of now, 5 students have been admitted to the Civil Hospital Shillong, and myself, I'm weak since yesterday. I just took drip and all, and till date we have not consuming any food. So we from here also will be getting a discharge in a while. Not 5 of us, but then 2 members are still here. Myself, I will be getting a discharge in a while, but we will still continue this hunger strike till our demands are being fulfilled. Many students are sick. Yes, I do accept that, and we will still continue. After being hospitalized, we will still go from here directly. We won't go to our home, we won't go anywhere, but then we will go straight to our university to demands, to put on demands, and the authority concerned should know about what the students are demanding. It's been straight 90 hours. Students have not eaten anything, just water. We will only stop from this hunger strike until and unless the VCs step down.
All right, and to give us more details and to speak to us regarding the ongoing situation, I'm now being joined on Evening Prime by Professor Prashanjit Biswas, who is the Vice President of the Nehu Teachers Association. Of course, he's a professor at the Nehu University. First of all, Professor Biswas, thank you so much for giving us your time this evening, and welcome to Evening Prime. My question to you, Professor Biswas, this is a very serious situation that has been ongoing for 4 days now. The students have been on the hunger strike. A number of them are also falling ill, but despite that, the students are undeterred, and they're not looking back and absolutely unwilling to put down this hunger strike that they're currently holding. So what is the present situation right now, and are you expecting some sort of resolution to come forth in the coming days, Professor Vishwas?
Yes, these are the questions of great concern. First of all, many students are falling sick. And just now, Meban Karmaulang, one of our students, has been shifted from Shillong Civil Hospital to Negrims for an MRI test, and the condition is seemingly critical as the report comes. So what is happening is that because of no responsive kind of a response, total irresponsive kind of a stony silence that is coming from the other side, from the side of the Vice Chancellor, we don't see any light that it could be resolved so soon. His attempt to hold a dialogue also has been very, very feeble. And on the other side, what Honorable Governor has told us that his intervention is going to come forth. We expect that it is going to come forth. But meantime, students have one point demand that the Vice Chancellor has lost all the moral legitimacy to continue, and hence he must resign. And they are sticking on to it. I don't see any breakthrough in that until and unless their demand is resolved as it is, as they are demanding it. There won't be any resolution. We from the teacher side is rather feeling that we are standing with our students at this critical hour, and their action shall determine the future of this university. We from our side have already stated all that has gone wrong in the last 3.5 years, and even going beyond last 3.5 years, and we can experience a steady decline of the university because of once again irresponsible action or non-response from the side of the powers that be in the university. So therefore there is a need for a change, and students are praying for a change, teachers are praying for a change, and in the meantime situation is becoming very, very critical. Students are falling sick. They are trying to express their voices as much as they can, going beyond their capacity, and this is something very, very unique, and this is creating a sense among the student community that there will be solidarity to support the cause of Nehu. Nehu really needs a better treatment. Nehu needs to redeem itself from the current stalemate by whichever way it is possible, by emphasizing the demand that students are making, and teachers are standing very firmly with it. Now some intervention must come so that a mediational role is possible, but that is not happening because the administration, the Vice Chancellor, has remained totally responsive to the basic demands of the student. And in the evening today, situation as it stands today is becoming critical. Many more students may God forbid, shouldn't fall sick, but if they fall sick, situation will really become very, very critical.
Right, but Professor Vishwas, you know, if sources are to be believed, the Meghalaya government is actually quite concerned regarding the current situation, and there is also a very high chance that they might call the Vice Chancellor for a meeting sometime next week. So do you see this as a positive sign?
I hope so that it happens that way, but if the Vice Chancellor doesn't relent, because seemingly he has taken an unrelenting position, and the background of the position is that why this demand has emanated. It is because of thoroughly irresponsible behavior of the registrar, and his defense of the registrar, defense of this errant official has led to the situation whereby students and other stakeholders now strongly feel that the moral legitimacy of holding the high office of Vice Chancellor has come to a cropper. The Vice Chancellor has reached at the end of his role, and therefore he can only remain, but that remaining will carry no meaning because student and teaching community and other larger fraternity of Meghalaya and Northeast really want to see a better situation in the Northeastern Hill University. The most premier of all the universities of Northeast is the mother of all the central universities of the Northeast. It has to be restored to its earlier sheen, to its earlier glory, and for that whatever is needed, students and teaching community are ready to do. And that's how students are expressing their dissent very, very strongly in a democratic way, and they are sacrificing so much, they are suffering so much, the whole campus is suffering, there is grief, there is concern, there is anxiety, mixed with a sense of suspense. No one knows what can happen at any point of time. I hope situation doesn't turn towards the worst, and there is no positive intervention so far. We are only hoping for an intervention. I hope that comes.
Right. Let's just hope for the sake of the students that some resolution does come along soon enough. For now, Professor Vishwas, thank you very much for all of those details, and thank you for joining us on Evening Prime. All right, so viewers, we now also have with us, joining us on Evening Prime, Mr. Toniho Kharsati, who is the General Secretary of Nehu Students Union. So once again, Mr. Kharsati, thank you very much for giving us your time, and welcome to Evening Prime. My question to you, Mr. Kharsati, you know, a number of the protesting students have taken ill today due to tiredness and exhaustion, and understandably so, because, you know, they have been on a hunger strike for more than 4 days now, and that is definitely not something to be taken lightly. So despite the situation of the students falling sick, the protesting students don't seem to be deterred. You are adamant to continue this hunger strike as long as the Vice Chancellor does not step down. Am I understanding your position correctly, Mr. Karsati?
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. So, as you have correctly pointed out that the situation in our university is getting worse with each passing hour, with each passing day. Students are falling ill, they are being hospitalized every now and then, and some of the students are in really serious conditions, while some of them, they have been discharged and they have joined the protest. However, we have cases where the students' conditions is getting worse. However, I would also like to say that the protest, that the hunger strike, this decision of taking a hunger strike, of continuing hunger strike, it's not something that how it is being portrayed as students being adamant. Even the Vice Chancellor, in his recent press release, he said that students are adamant and they do not want to listen to him. But the very fact is that we have been forced to remain silent for these many years with this Vice Chancellor sitting in this chair of our university. Reason being, it is not that we the students, we are adamant. It is the Vice Chancellor who is adamant. Since last 2 years, the students community have been asking the Vice Chancellors for pro-Vice Chancellor in both the campuses of Nehu Shillong and Nehu Tura. But he seems to be very adamant and he did not respond a very favorable response to us throughout this whole year. And it is only now, when we are raising our voice, when we are raising our concerns, that the Vice Chancellor is telling us that he will be appointing two pro-Vice Chancellors in both the campuses, and that too without the prior approval of the Ministry of Education. So this is something that we want to say, that it is not that we, the Students' Union, we are adamant. In fact, for the matter of fact, let me put this in this way, that we are not adamant, but we are resolute. We have taken this firm decision that we no longer want this Vice Chancellor because of his adamant behavior. And it is in response to his adamant behavior that we have taken this firm resolution that we will be resoluting, and we will take this hunger strike to this extent, that until and unless this Vice Chancellor steps down from the university, we will not call off this hunger strike protest that we have taken and we have started. Secondly, to say that the conditions of the students is getting worse with each passing day. So it is very true that we are losing our health. Our health conditions is deteriorating, but we have not received any kind of verbal communication from the Vice Chancellor seeking asking the conditions of the students. For the matter of fact, the only response that we are getting from the Vice Chancellor is to call off the strike. The Vice Chancellor knows very well that we are very firm with our decision. So keeping that aside, at least on humanitarian grounds, the Vice Chancellor should have come, and keeping aside all those complications that we are having at the university right now, he should have at least come on the humanitarian ground and asked us like how we are doing, whether any students is facing any kind of problems.
All right. And Mr. Karsati, on that note, very quickly, like you said, there were a number of you today who fell sick because of the hunger strike. So quickly, do you have an update for us as far as what is their health condition right now is concerned? How many of you were hospitalized due to the weakness today? And, any update as far as their health condition is concerned?
So presently, 2 of our members, they are being hospitalized. Initially, there were 5. But then 3 of them, they came back, and 2 members are being hospitalized. One of the member is a female member. She is still, her condition is still not very stable. She is in serious condition. And the other one is also one of the executive member from the Khasi Students Union. His name is Meban Kharmaulong. His condition is very critical, so to say. He has been transferred from Civil Hospital to Nigram's Hospital, Shillong, and he is undergoing his MRI scan with regards to the seizure that he's having continuously because of lack of food and also because lack of rest and the poor condition weather that we are facing in Shillong right now. So all these things are making the students' union suffer more and more, especially the students' community.
All right. So, Mr. Kharsati, a last question to you very quickly. The Vice Chancellor, while speaking to us, has said that he has been calling the protesting students for discussions to try and resolve the matter, but it doesn't seem like the protesting students are in any mood to entertain any discussion at this point. So, is there any sort of flexibility on the part of the students for any, discussion to try and, find a way forward to find a solution to this current predicament?
We have heard these communications from the Vice Chancellor asking the students to come and discuss in table talks for a healthy discussion, so to say, to compromise, to keep it in that note. However, the student union want to make it very firm that the earlier demands, keeping in mind that our earlier demands were never fulfilled at first place. And now it is only when we are demanding him to resign from this post, to him to step down, he is calling us for another formal discussion to discuss. So as we have already mentioned that we have lost confidence under his leadership being recent. Now when we are asking him to resign, now he is asking us to come and talk, and he will resolve all the other problems that our university is facing. So we only find that this kind of communications, this kind of statement from the Vice Chancellor is just to save himself, to keep him in a safer side, and also to shy away from the problems that he has been doing, to shy away from all those wrongdoings which he did in the past. From our student side, this hunger strike.
All right, so the students are undeterred. They will continue their hunger strike as long as the Vice Chancellor does not step down. Mr. Kharsati, thank you once again for joining us on Evening Prime and giving us your time on this big development. Thank you once again. And on that note, viewers, what you see on your screens right now, so these are visuals of a student singing at the Nehu protest site, seeking blessings from God to fulfill their demands. Take a look.
সুকন্যাৰ এইবাৰৰ সংখ্যাৰ বিশেষ আকৰ্ষণ অসমৰ প্ৰথমগৰাকী মহিলা পাইলট হীৰা চলিহা হাজৰিকা 50ৰ দশকত মেখেলা চাদৰ পিন্ধি লণ্ডনৰ ফ্লাইং ক্লাবত বিমান চলোৱা হীৰা চলিহাৰ জীৱন সংগ্ৰামৰ বহু অকথিত ঘটনা প্ৰকাশ পাব সাক্ষাৎকাৰত শূন্যৰ পৰা শিখৰলৈ শিতানত আছে ৰাষ্ট্ৰীয় কৃষক সন্মানপ্ৰাপক গোৱালপাৰাৰ কৃষ্ণাইৰ দীপিকা ৰাভাৰ কৃষি কৰ্মৰ এক প্ৰতিবেদন